Hey guys, it's Saga from TechWorks, and in this video, let us compare the cameras on the OnePlus Nord with the one on the iPhone SE. We have over 75 image and video samples from both these phones, so make sure you watch the complete video. These phones are not exactly competing with each other, yet some of you guys asked me to compare the cameras on them. Nord starts at 27,999 rupees, and the new iPhone SE now starts at 35,999 rupees. So there is a 8,000 rupees price difference between the two. I know Nord is supposed to start at 25,000 rupees, but that variant is not yet out, so I will consider its current price. At this price, iPhone SE gets a single 12 megapixel camera with f1.8 aperture and optical image stabilization on its back. You don't get a wide angle camera or some other useless macro or depth sensor. Just one camera and that's it. OnePlus Nord on the other hand gets a quad camera setup on its back. Primary camera gets a 48 megapixel sensor with f1.8 aperture and optical image stabilization. Then there is an 8 megapixel sensor with f2.25 aperture and an ultra wide angle lens, followed by a 2 megapixel macro camera with f2.4 aperture and a 5 megapixel depth sensor again with f2.4 aperture. At the front, iPhone SE gets a 7 megapixel camera with f2.2 aperture. OnePlus Nord gets two cameras at the front. Main one gets a 32 megapixel sensor with f2.5 aperture, and the second one gets an 8 megapixel sensor with f2.5 aperture and an ultra wide angle lens. If you want a better look at the camera interface on both these phones, I suggest you check out my detailed camera reviews of them. I will leave cards to them on the top right corner of the screen and also link them in the description section. Now before we move on to the image and video samples, if you are new to this channel, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon next to it. That way, you won't miss out on any of the amazing videos coming up on this channel. As always, let us start with the daytime images. There are plenty of details in these daytime shots. Although the SE has a lower resolution sensor, it doesn't feel like its images are showing any less details compared to the Nord's high resolution primary camera. There is more contrast in the images from the OnePlus Nord, so the shadows in its images appear a bit darker, whereas you can see a lot of details in the shadows in iPhone's images. Images from both the phones have a different look. OnePlus Nord tends to capture cooler color tones, whereas the iPhone SE captures naturally warm color tones. This is an indoor shot in daytime. Both have captured a lot of details, but when we zoom in, we see more details in the darker parts of the stairway in the image from the iPhone SE compared to the OnePlus Nord. There is a bit more noise in iPhone SE's images when we shoot in diffused or overcast lighting conditions like in this shot. I took this image at sunrise, and as you can see, OnePlus Nord tried to add a lot more light in the scene, whereas the iPhone SE captured the scene exactly how it was. Again we can see the Nord adding more contrast to the shot and the SE showing more details in the shadows. Nord will also try to overexpose some of the shots, so you might need to pull the brightness slider down manually for some of these shots. Colors, especially the greens, are more natural in the images from the iPhone SE. Actual colors of the scene were close to how the iPhone captured them. Color is a personal choice and everyone perceives them in a different way, so which one of these images you like will depend on your color preference. I like natural looking colors from the iPhone, but your choice might be different, and that is completely fine. To make sure that these phones capture the best dynamic range in all situations, I left the Smart HDR on the iPhone SE and the Ultra Short HDR on the OnePlus Nord on auto for all of my shots. As we already saw in some of the shots before, thanks to the Smart HDR, iPhone SE captures brighter shadows compared to the OnePlus Nord. Both the phones are doing a good job in these high dynamic range situations. On the iPhone, you can see the Smart HDR at work in the viewfinder, while on the OnePlus Nord, you will have to wait until after you have clicked the image to see if it has done a good job or not. I am actually surprised to see the iPhone SE doing a better job here. For some reason, I thought OnePlus Nord is going to be better at HDR shots. This reminds us that having good image processing is more important than having a high resolution sensor. Don't get me wrong, Nord is also doing a pretty good job in these images. It's just that the iPhone SE is even better. Both the phones do a very good job when it comes to close-up shots. Subject is in sharp focus, and since both have a wide aperture, background gets a very nice optical blur. Since the main sensor on the OnePlus Nord is large, the background in its close-up shots is blurred out a bit more. The difference is not much, but the iPhone SE is faster at setting the focus on a nearby object. If you want to get even closer to your subject, OnePlus Nord gets a 2 megapixel macro camera. It allows you to get much closer to the subject and still lets you set the focus accurately. But since it's just a 2 megapixel macro camera, quality of these macro shots is abysmal. You're better off with taking 2 or 3x digitally zoomed in images. As you can see, these digitally zoomed in shots look much better than the 2 megapixel macro shots. I did get a software update while I was taking these samples, which was supposed to improve the macro camera. But even with that update installed, I did not see any major improvements with this camera. If your phone doesn't have a macro lens, you can use this trick of just digitally zooming in with the main camera. OnePlus Nord also gets a secondary wide lens, which lets you capture much wider field of view compared to the primary lens. iPhone SE doesn't get any of these extra lenses. The camera app on the Nord also gets a 2x zoom option, but it doesn't have a telephoto lens, so this mode just captures digitally zoomed in shots from the main sensor. The wide shots are not as sharp as the primary ones, especially around the edges of the frame. But I think it is still nice to have this lens, as it lets us capture a different perspective of the scene by standing at the same exact spot. It especially comes in handy if you want to capture large architecture, or if you are in a small room and if you don't have enough space to move back so you can capture the whole scene with the main camera. Now you can use add-on wide lenses with the iPhone SE, but it means you have to carry an extra piece of equipment with you, and it is just not as convenient as having an extra wide lens built into your phone itself. Coming to the portrait shots. This is my favorite mode on any smartphone to shoot in. Whenever I have people in my shot, I just switch to the portrait mode. So any phone's portrait mode performance could make or break the deal for me. Looking at these images, I think it is safe to say that both are doing a good job with these portrait shots. Both of them are able to accurately separate the subject from its background. OnePlus Nord is able to keep a few more strands of hair in focus, but overall, I would say both are equally good. You can take 2x digitally zoomed portraits with the OnePlus Nord. I feel the face is a bit too soft in these zoomed in portrait shots, so I don't like to take them too often from this phone. If we were to look closer, the main subjects are sharper in the portraits on the iPhone SE. It is also capturing more natural looking skin tones. Nord again captures more contrast, so some of its portraits appear a bit darker. If you look at the dynamic range in the background, OnePlus Nord has definitely done a better job of preserving more details in the bright sky. But in that process, it also brings up the shadows on the face and makes it appear a bit unnatural. As you can see, Nord does not capture any details in some parts of the face, whereas the iPhone SE, while blowing up the highlights in the background, still did a wonderful job of preserving the skin tones, and its portrait shots look better to me overall. SE is also much faster at taking these portrait shots, whereas the OnePlus Nord takes a few seconds to gather the depth information for these shots. Now another thing that the iPhone SE's camera can't do is take portraits of objects with the native camera app. You can do it with a few third-party apps, but for the stock camera app to take portrait shots, it needs to detect a face in the scene. Nord doesn't have that problem. It can take portrait shots without any hesitation, and as you can see, it is also pretty good at it. Let us now move on to the images which I took in indoors, artificial and lower lighting situations. Both the phones have a wide aperture on the main camera, and they also have optical image stabilization, which helps the sensor capture more light for a longer time, so they capture good images in most of the indoor and artificial lighting situations. Like it did with the outdoor lighting situations, OnePlus Nord tries to cool the colors down in the artificial lighting conditions as well. In some of the shots, SE captured brighter images, but as we zoom in, we see that it also captured a lot of noise and basically no details at all. While taking outdoor evening shots, again the colors of the lights were as we see in the iPhone's image, and the OnePlus Nord tried to cool them down in its shot. In all of these late evening shots, OnePlus Nord has definitely captured more details and comparatively less noise in its images. But every now and then, iPhone SE pulls out amazing looking shots like this. The OnePlus Nord has a very good main camera, and it does really well in most of the lower lighting shots. I just feel it needs to deliver better looking shots more consistently. As we get to even lower light, noise starts to replace the details in the iPhone SE's images. And while OnePlus Nord's images are not very bright, at least it doesn't capture as much noise in them. To help it in these situations, OnePlus Nord gets a nightscape mode which the iPhone SE doesn't, and it does make a huge difference in the resulting images. Even when there is plenty of light around, nightscape mode helps the OnePlus Nord capture more light and more details in the overall shot, and it also reduces the overall noise level in its images. Without the night mode support, iPhone SE struggles a lot in these lower lighting situations. The processor inside the SE is perfectly capable of taking night mode shots. But for some reason, Apple decided not to give us this mode on this phone. And this makes the iPhone SE fall way behind the Android phones which cost much less than it in lower lighting conditions. You can use the Gcam mod on the OnePlus Nord and make it take even better looking images. So if you take most of your shots in lower light, you should definitely go with the OnePlus Nord. That brings us to the front-facing cameras. iPhone has a lower resolution selfie camera, and it shows when we compare some of these selfies side by side. In most cases, you won't notice a huge difference in the detail level between these two phones, but it is there. What you will notice is that the main camera on the OnePlus Nord has a wider field of view compared to the iPhone SE. Although selfies are a bit detailed from the OnePlus Nord, I still prefer the natural colors and look of the skin tones in the selfies from the iPhone SE. Again, color is a personal choice, so which one you like will depend on your preference. The OnePlus Nord gets a secondary wide lens at the front as well, and it lets you capture a much wider field of view. This will come in very handy when the pandemic is over and you will want to get more of your friends in one shot. Even with a much higher megapixel count on the main selfie camera, Nord's images are not very good in lower light. In fact, as we zoom in, we see the iPhone SE capture more details in these lower lighting selfies. Both can capture portrait selfies, and here, iPhone SE is clearly doing a better job of detecting the edges. There is a hard line separating your subject from the background in most of the portrait selfies from the OnePlus Nord, and this doesn't look very natural. Again, colors, skin tones and dynamic range is better in the portrait selfies from the iPhone SE. I'm actually surprised to see the selfie camera on the iPhone SE perform this good compared to the ones on the OnePlus Nord. Here is a video from the front-facing camera of the iPhone SE and the OnePlus Nord. You can see how both these phones are handling the overall colors of the scene, exposure and stabilization when I'm walking around with them. Both can shoot 4K videos at 30 FPS. iPhone SE can even shoot 4K 60 FPS videos. It also uses OIS and EIS to stabilize videos at every resolution and frame rate option. Whereas the OnePlus Nord, despite of having OIS on the main lens, only uses EIS for stabilizing all its videos. The optical image stabilization just doesn't work on the OnePlus Nord while taking videos. Both can shoot 60 FPS videos in 1080p. Here is a small video sequence I put together from both the phones. Videos from the iPhone SE have been shot in 4K at 60 FPS, and ones from the OnePlus Nord have been shot in 1080p at 60 FPS. Video shooting options and quality both are better from the iPhone SE, but the videos from the OnePlus Nord are also very good. So after looking at over 75 image and video samples, one thing is clear, that even without a high megapixel main camera, iPhone SE is no slouch in the camera department. While getting into this comparison, I expected the OnePlus Nord to come on top in most, if not all lighting conditions. But other than in lower light, iPhone SE ended up coming on top in almost all of these images. It captured better dynamic range and colors in almost all of the shots that we saw. iPhone doesn't have a macro or a wide lens, so Nord is the obvious winner in those two categories. iPhone SE again comes back strong with its better looking portrait shots. In indoor light, I don't mind using either of these two phones, but in lower light, OnePlus Nord is definitely better. If you have the extra money and you want an overall better camera phone, you should go with the iPhone SE. It comes with a single camera, but it makes the most of it in all lighting conditions. OnePlus Nord on the other hand gets a versatile and feature-rich camera module. And if you are looking to save yourself some money, you can go with it and still end up with a very capable set of cameras on your phone. So these were my thoughts about the cameras on these two phones. After looking at over 75 image and video samples in this comparison, what do you think about these cameras? Let me know in the comments. If you end up liking any of these phones and are looking to purchase it, I will really appreciate if you get it from the affiliate links in the description section. That is it for this video guys. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to the channel for more quality tech videos like this. You can also check out some of the other videos from this channel. This has been Sagar and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.